So I've talked a lot about Star Wars on this channel the past 5 months I've been doing YouTube videos. How much I love Star Wars. It's Christmas. I got Star Wars on Blu-ray. So I thought I would review Star Wars. So let's get to it. Star Wars Episode 4 is a... Wait, what? You want me to... Oh, wow. I want to review the... I want to review the prequel. Star Wars Episode 1. The Phantom Menace. Alright, so this is the first movie technically in the series, but not really. Technically, when the original movies came out, it was just called Star Wars A New Hope, or just Star Wars. The episodes didn't get added till later on. I don't think till the 80s sometime. But people were always wondering, I was like, why is that episode 4, 5, 6? What happened before? What happens before? Or what's known as the prequels to most people, and other people call it the greatest disappointment in life. Episode 1 takes place 34 years or so before the events of the Battle of Yavin. It takes place before the time of the Empire. Before there was the Empire, there was the Republic. The Republic really is based off Roman, like the ancient Roman Republic from ancient times. So the first question we need to ask ourselves, do I like this movie? Well, that's a difficult question. Star Wars Episode 1 came out in 1999, I believe. Star Wars Episode 1 came out, I was like 8 or 9. I loved Episode 1. I remember having all the toys and everything because I was a kid and I loved Star Wars and everything, that kind of stuff. As I grew older, I stopped drinking the Kool-Aid and realized this movie sucks. Like, there's so much stuff to hate in this movie. You have Jar Jar. Jar Jar. Do I need to say anything else? You know, I feel sorry for the guy who played Jar Jar because he has probably gotten so much shit since they played Jar Jar. Really, if you think about it, all of the bad things I can say about Star Wars Episode 1, there's a lot of good things to say about Star Wars Episode 1 as well. For Star Wars Episode 1, movies didn't look this way. The special effects of Star Wars Episode 1 are mind-blowing to be happening in 1999. Star Wars Episode 1 did what Avatar did to the 3D world. Motion capture. Motion capture? What we all think Lord of the Rings started, it was really Star Wars that really began it. I think the reason why Jar Jar did all these floppy things with his tongue and everything was to make it real. Because that was the only way to get attention back then, really, if you think about it. So really, you have to look at Jar Jar, even though everybody hates Jar Jar, he is the origins of what characters will love eventually, like Smeagol and Caesar from Planet of the Apes. Talk about some more of the good, what Episode 1 did right. First off, Liam Neeson. Before Liam Neeson was kicking ass in Taken and taking on a plane and punching wolves in the face, before he was a god and Chronicles of Narnia and the Titan movie, it was freaking Qui-Gon Jinn kicking ass in the Star Wars universe. If the prequels did nothing good, at least they gave us Liam Neeson, otherwise known as Qui-Gon Jinn. And Qui-Gon Jinn is a great character. That's another gripe, I guess you could say, in Star Wars, is that Qui-Gon Jinn has to die. Also, the first technical introduction of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi in this movie and the first trilogy is portrayed by Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor, I salute you, man. You have to go through all 3 of these crap pieces. There's one good thing I can say about every 3 movie. The most consistent thing good about it, Ewan McGregor's performance. Just pushing out the bad dialogue, and he is trying, guys. He is trying. We see Obi-Wan Kenobi as a Padawan to Qui-Gon Jinn. What's cool about this, we get to see more Jedi, because you think about it, in the original Star Wars movies, we only saw 3 Jedi. And the training was very weird because all the Jedi had been executed, and what Luke was learning was what he gathered through his battles against the Empire. Instead of being on the run trying to learn all you can, Anakin and other Jedi are in like a school. What's not crazy about what the prequels did was they made Jedi monks. Why make them monks? Another great thing the prequels did is it gave us Darth Maul, because Darth Maul is a badass. He's one of the coolest characters in the prequels, probably in Star Wars in general. That's why Darth Maul is the Boba Fett of the Star Wars prequels. He dies in a stupid way, or does he? You're probably thinking to yourself, well, actually, Darth Vader, he is dead because he got cut in half because Obi-Wan Kenobi did it. That's where you'd be wrong, good sir. If you don't know what I'm talking about Star Wars The Clone Wars. In season 4 or 3, they revealed Darth Maul was still alive. And alive and well. Well, not well, he kind of went crazy. It's a really cool episode. Episodes with Darth Maul are probably the best episodes of Clone Wars. If you have not checked out Star Wars Clone Wars, I advise it. Clone Wars helps make the prequels a little better. If that's even possible, it is a little. Because it makes Anakin's character a lot better, because it makes it more sound like the character we saw in episode 4. He was the best pilot I ever knew. Great friend. See that in the Clone Wars. You don't really see that in the movies. But more on that in the next few videos, right? Also, another great thing Star Wars gave us was the pod race. The pod race is probably one of the best parts of the whole movie. When I was watching Star Wars today, I was like, alright, I just gotta make it to the pod race. And then I just gotta make it through to the duel. The pod race is freaking awesome, because it's really awesome. Because the pod race was like just pretty much racing in NASCAR, but made it cool, because NASCAR's kind of boring. I don't know how many people out there played it. On N64, there was a pod racing game. It was so much fun. I'm a big racing game fan, but the pod racing was kind of fun. I hope that LucasArts or whoever's making video games for Star Wars makes another pod racing game. Simple, easy to do, and be a lot of fun. I'm running out of stuff to talk about good stuff in the prequels. You know how it is. Of course, the best part of the whole movie is the Duel of the Fates. That's right, the duel between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn. But back in look at the history of Star Wars lightsaber fights. The fight choreography, there wasn't any fight choreography. They just winged it, pretty much. Which I really like for back then. I still love it today. Like, the duel between Darth Vader and Luke in Episode 5 is so awesome. But, I mean, this fight is the best fight in the prequels. Also playing along with the Duel of the Fates, which Duel of the Fates is probably one of the best music scores of all Star Wars movies. Alright. I've delayed this as long as I can. Let's talk about the bad. And there's a bunch. First off, let's get to Anakin Skywalker. Jake Lloyd. First line of dialogue. He says, "Are you an angel?" And you're all like, "Oh." Don't worry. Dialogue gets better in the next episode. You'll hear another one of my bad impressions. You also get bad acting from Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley. Wait, you didn't know Keira Knightley was in Star Wars? Well, guess again, she was the decoy queen. That's right, before she was a pirate fighting with Captain Jack Sparrow, she was in Star Wars as a decoy queen to Natalie Portman. Yay! That's really all I can really say about Star Wars Episode 1. Oh, wait! There is one more thing. I don't know if I've said this before, but there's a little book out there. A book I'm talking about is Star Wars Darth Plagueis. If you have not checked this book out, if you call yourself a Star Wars fan, you should be ashamed of yourself if you haven't read this book. Because this book does such a wonder dang for the prequels. As I've gotten older, and I've rewatched the prequels and started hating them, I've started to appreciate the Emperor a lot more. The Emperor is like one of the coolest Star Wars villains. And really, this is where it all begins. The politics of the Emperor in this Star Wars movie is awesome. He's a humble senator. He's put on that good face, but evil, he's like, "I'm the Emperor. Ah, God. The book Darth Plagueis, it goes all over this stuff. During the events of the first Star Wars movie, Palpatine is still an apprentice to Darth Plagueis. There are another Star Wars books called the Darth Bane Trilogy. The Darth Bane Trilogy, it goes over about the Rule of Two. Have you ever wondered why there's not more than 2 Sith in the galaxy? We'll read those books as well. Star Wars Darth Bane Trilogy. Books written by Drew Karpyshyn, a guy who worked with BioWare on the KOTOR games and all this stuff. Goes into a hole with him Darth Bane looking to research of Revan. And Revan saying, anyone who raises more than one apprentice is a fool. Because eventually all those apprentices will align with each other, take out their master, and the Sith Order will be weaker. One should only train one apprentice at a time. So Darth Bane realized who there should be, no more, no less. One to uphold the darkness, and one to crave it. Since Darth Bane did that, the Sith have been following this Rule of Two. All 6 of the Star Wars movies have followed the Rule of Two. What's cool is the Darth Plagueis book, it actually makes Star Wars Episode 1 watchable now. Because I know all the underlying plots going on. I know what's going on in the whole... Everyone like, Trade Wars, really? We have to hear about that crap? Really interesting if you think about it, because it makes, in the Darth Plagueis book, it goes more into that. Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious are trying to create, they want to put Palpatine as the Emperor, or as the Supreme Counselor. To do that, they have to create a horrible situation, make the economy terrible, where Palpatine can rise up and become Chancellor, and be a good Chancellor. What's good about Star Wars Episode 1? Episode 1 is called Phantom Menace. Some of the titles are terrible. Next one, I'll talk about that probably tomorrow. The title's pretty straightforward. The title just pretty much is a Phantom Menace because it actually is a Phantom Menace. Because the menace is starting to arise. I don't think that's a bad title at all. I think it's actually a pretty good title. They try to force so much stuff into Star Wars. Get it? Force? George Lucas directed this movie. I don't know why he did. It could have been someone else. If someone else had directed this movie, it probably would have been a lot better. So much things you could have fixed with. You could have given Jar Jar, you could have given him an accent no one could hear. It could be like Chewbacca. If Chewbacca spoke like Jar Jar, everyone would hate Chewbacca. But all Chewbacca go roar pretty much. If could understand Jar Jar, I think it would be better. The people of the Trade Federation, alien voices, like they did with Jabba the Hutt in the original Star Wars trilogy. There are so many small things they could have done to fix it, and it would have been a lot better. They tried to force so much things, like they had R2-D2 and C-3PO in it. They kind of force it, and they didn't just force it. They made Anakin build C-3PO. Come on, that's bullshit. So episode 4, or episode 1, ended in a parade, like episode 4 did. Trying to make people like, hey look, it's Star Wars, it's kind of like episode 4. Yay! Except it's not! I said, Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, Darth Maul, good in the movie. Palpatine starting to make his play to be the Emperor. If you haven't done it, read Darth Plagueis, and Star Wars Episode 1 will be watchable now. The pod race and the fight's pretty awesome. I'll give Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, a 2.0 out of 5. Not a great score, but they're lucky it's that low, because other people have given it a lot worse score. I'm going to ask the question, have you seen it? Because most people have and probably been disappointed. So here's the question I'll ask. What is the worst part about Star Wars Episode 1? Whatever it is, comment below, let me know. And if you have done so, click that like button and subscribe to see more of this beautiful face. Also go to my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/DarthEasy to stay updated to go all going on in Easy Nation. All too easy.